Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of the ABJ Podcast. We're up to episode 42, and I'll have Harleen Lopez on here in a second. But first, let's get the housekeeping done. Make sure you check the links below for all things ABJ, as well as my guest links. And we still have the links up currently for Adena and Mike, who are still injured wrestlers. So if they can use any support they can get, whether it be their subscription services, merchandise, or all that fun stuff. Also, if you notice in the bottom, we have the sponsors, Elevation 1470, reinventing the style by bringing traditional and nostalgic apparel to Frackville and the surrounding areas of Schuylkill County. They pride themselves on hometown heritage and community. Elevation 1470 is where the trail begins. You can find them at elevations1470.com for the latest traditional and nostalgic style in Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania. And I think there's like a day or two left. You can use code ILOVE LOVE ABJ for 15% off. This is mine. I got the new hoodie right here. The Schuylkill Mall was the only cool thing our area ever had, and it got torn down, and now it's a factory, and we all miss it. And now I wear it because it was like my childhood. But make sure, if you can, go support all that great stuff there. Tons of fun things. New merchandise is always coming. I have the iced tea and chocolate milk logo are up there if you want to go buy them. It helps out so much supporting the streams, and helps with some gas money and tolls on all these crazy drives on the wrestling show. Housekeeping is real quick this month. Also below, if you notice, High Tension Wrestling's down there. So make sure you go subscribe to High Tension Wrestling, Smash Master Wrestling, all that great stuff. Tickets are on sale right now for the Pennsylvania as well. The Goon featuring the Goons. May 6th, the tickets is the day of the event. If you go buy it, you get a discount off your ticket if you use code ABJ. So go get your tickets for the next Smash Master Wrestling show. They're always a good time and a lot of fun. So without further ado, let me get my overlay back up. Boom, nailed it. Let's get my guests in here. I'm really excited for this one. So what happened was Mary Elizabeth, the goddess of professional wrestling, I love her to death, had a little bit of conflicting issues with things going on in her personal life. So it was supposed to be Thursday, then we went to Wednesday. Now Wednesday, she is doing it on Monday. So we flip-flopped around, and I was like, well, I need somebody for Thursday because everyone's used to Thursday episodes. So Harleen stepped up, which I'm very thankful for, and we're going to have a really fun time and learn a ton about her. I got to meet her I met her at the last High Tension Wrestling show in Philly, and she was super, super dope and had a great match with Riley Crow. So I'm excited to learn more and have this deep dive. So without further ado, let me bring her in. How you doing?
How's it going, Anthony Blackwell? My new favorite human.
Yes. So you finally, we met each other for the first time at High Tension, and I remember I was like, oh, this chick is badass. She has flames tattooed on her thighs, and I was like, oh no, it's just that's the leggings. But I was like, oh, she got the Bam Bam Bigelow tattoos going on. Do you have any
tattoo idea?
Do you have any tattoos?
I only have the 2 on my wrist, but besides from that, I'm basically gonna get to sleep one day, but who knows down the line,
Yeah, they're fun to have. I hate getting them.
Yeah, really.
Just sitting there for hours and getting stabbed with a needle is never fun. And if people say they like it, they're crazy. They're not.
No, when I got these 2, this was like one of the best experiences of my life because it was like it wasn't painful. It was more so ticklish than anything.
Yeah, I know. Next tattoo, I'm going for that numbing gel that they rub on stuff now.
Oh,
I don't care.
Yeah.
Call me whatever. People can call me whatever you want. I'm doing it. I'm sick of it. Yeah. So you've been how long have you been training? I know I almost dropped information that we talked about off camera, so I'll let you tell you. How long have you been in the business now?
So I've been training for a good 4 years now. Did not make my professional debut until maybe a year and a half ago. It was a weird time because the pandemic hit, and originally my original training school wasn't necessarily the best place, I would say, until I got to the Worldwide Dojo, and they just incredibly helped me. Cheeseburger is probably one of the best trainers there is out there.
Yeah, and that building, every time I go in there, I have that moment of it's like walking on hollowed ground, because when you walk in the Worldwide Dojo, you get a feeling of this place is special. And then I remember being there for the first time. We filmed High Tension stuff, and I was like, oh, I'm in the dojo. This is cool. This is Cheeseburger School. Cheeseburger's legendary, man. He's done cool things. He's Jushin Liger loves this dude. He knows what he's doing. And I'm looking at the wall, and I'm looking at his office. I'm like, this is crazy, all the stuff. And then my buddy kind of nudged me, and he goes, you know where you're at? And he's like, what? I'm like, this is the old ROH dojo. You know who used to run this building? He's like, Punk and Bryant came in here and Claudio came through here, and you named them. If they were in ROH, they probably trained in that building. And I was like, this is crazy. Like the squat rack is still broken from Claudio and it's still there. You know what I mean? Like it's just
every day within the weeks. Yep.
Yeah, it's such a magical place, and and there couldn't have been a better person than take the mantle of that building than Cheeseburger, and it's an awesome. So the fact that you're training out of there, you're in great hands.
No, without a doubt. Like the first time I ever walked in there, it was because I was with real two good friends that are in the business. Their names are Pancakes and Abby Jane.
Oh my goodness!
They brought me there. Yeah, they brought me in there, and I was like so nervous, super stoked to see Cheeseburger. And I walked in, I was like marking out. I was like, don't look like don't look like a dork. Don't look like a dork right now. But I was just freaking out the entire time.
Yeah, it's funny because Cheeseburger obviously takes tons of pride in the people he trains, so he puts their 8x10s on the wall. And I was saying to myself, like, I would never, like, if I was a trainee there, I'd like, Cheeseburger, don't put my picture up there. Like, like some of the most legendary Japanese wrestlers who have come to visit, and like, I don't deserve to be up there with them.
Right, I have the same mindset. I'm just like, I feel like I'm nowhere near these levels, so please don't ever put my face up there.
the best is the new photo from the last time we were there not too long ago. The Wheeler Yuta photo where it looks like he's like a real estate agent, like
right.
And he just took it and put it on the wall to be funny. But yeah, Abby and Pancakes, they are absolute sweethearts in this business.
No,
I was actually going through all my t-shirts, and I have bins full of t-shirts because I can't hang them anymore. There's no room. So I have a huge bin, and it's packed to the gills of all just independent wrestling t-shirts. I had to start another bin, but I was going through like trying to put old ones on the bottom and reshuffle, so I tried new ones, and I found my bright pink Abby shirt that looks like Mario Sunshine.
Right,
yeah.
My favorite design from her,
And then I think the same artist who did that one did Max Zero's shirt, the Handsome Max shirt. Yeah, they're very similar. I think it might be the same person. I could be wrong, but I believe it is. It's very, very, very close. But yeah, so how did you meet up with them and all that?
Oh man, so our friendship goes back all the way to when we wrestled at the Wrestle Factory. Originally connected with Chikara, of course. We met like probably like September 2019, around that time, because that's when I started down there. And we just clicked instantly because they're probably like one of the best people, one of the best friends that I have in this business right now. And they've been beneficial, and they've been like one of the best mentors that I probably could have there.
Yeah. So you were initially with the with Chikara's earliest thing, and then moved with there. Yeah. What like, obviously it's a bummer what happened with that and everything that went down. I personally still love going back and watching Chikara stuff because it's trying to separate the bad from the good, and it's just like the work that was put in by the talent there is special, and what they created was special. So it's like, and I love how like it's kind of, and everyone kind of moved on to their own thing, and then they're reinventing themselves. So it's really fun to see. But so you were there with like Mikowski and Devontae and stuff like that.
Yes, but I started like the second they started like stepping out. So like I just missed them by like a few months.
Oh, okay.
But I reconnected with them later on down the line. But yeah. It was like September 2019. I started down there, and I was just going through like beginner classes at the time. And that was around that time. That's when everything kind of crumbled down.
Yeah.
Like, the school revamped itself, and Chikara was no more. And I was just like a few months away from like probably like potentially getting like a debut there. So it was just like really bummer how everything turned out.
And like I was part of the Camp Leapfrog, like later ages of Camp Leapfrog, and it was always very fascinating to me of like not in a, like obviously nothing positive, but like how when you find the home and you're like, oh, this is it, and then you watch it kind of all falls apart, and you're disappointed, and you have so many emotions, and it's just like you feel like you're lost your home, and then they felt like Camp Leapfrog was their new home. So like I don't know, it's dope that you now fell into the High Tension brand and that family, because it kind of became another place for a lot of that talent where they didn't feel like they had somewhere again. And and being like a member of that team and community, it's we love having you. Every one of you that come in from that background that came there is always a blast to work with, and everyone's very talented and very professional, and it's almost like bringing that clique in, and then we bring our Northeast PA people in that we really trust and kind of mash people together, and then it's just beautiful chemistry.
Right. No, I completely agree. Everybody on the high tension roster, I feel like they're extremely talented. They don't get enough credit that they deserve, I feel like most of the time. And it's just right now, it's just like a real good group of people. Like I felt so welcome when I actually like was there and I got my first debut match there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you find professional wrestling? Was it always something that was in your house? Was it parents that introduced you? How did you fall in love with this crazy industry of professional wrestling?
Let me get into the story without getting too emotional. Growing up, like my family was huge wrestling fans to begin with. So like I was like in the womb listening to like The Rock and Stone Cold cutting their promos on the television. Like I was just in the womb listening to that. And growing up,
You
my
just made
brother
me
was
feel
really,
really
really
old, by
into
the
it.
way.
Yeah. My brother was really into it. He was the one that actually like introduced me to it like more in depth. Because he decided to become a professional wrestler himself at one point. And he was just like engraving so much information in me, and we would watch like Monday night, like the Monday Night War shows and SmackDowns, and like he really got me obsessed over it. And it wasn't until like probably like 10, 11 years old that I really wanted to take it seriously. Like I could not pinpoint an exact match or pinpoint exact moments of when it occurred, but I was just watching it, and I just like was so engraved into it that I was like, I kind of want to get into this. Like there's this love, this infatuation about it that I cannot like get rid of it from my soul. So
Hmm.
it was ever since then I was just completely in love with it, and everything I did up to that point was for wrestling. So like, that's why in high school, if I had the choice to do any other sport, it was amateur wrestling at the point. So like I wanted to get in shape for it. I just wanted to do as much tape study as I could because I knew down the line this was the only thing I ever wanted to do. Yeah.
Now, it usually I'm used to my small little coal region towns where if a girl gets into amateur wrestling, for the most part, she's wrestling other boys. She's wrestling
Yeah.
out of her class, and it's a whole deal. And how was that in your growing up in high school? Was there a women's division, or were you kind of just thrown in the mix with everybody else?
At the time, there was no like women's teams, like no girls teams. I went to like a really small high school, probably like a good 75 people graduated probably that year of my senior year, and getting into it was extremely hard because there was no other female that wanted to do it. It was just me being, crazy as I may. And the coach was like, okay, but we're not going to treat you like any other female. We're going to treat you like one of the boys, and we're going to push you through it. And all 4 years I did it, and it was probably the most humbling experience I've ever been through. Where it's just like they put me through hell, but mentally it made me like a tougher person. And thankfully, as my coach started believing in me more, I was able to do more like national competitions and like go down like these tournaments and stuff just to represent the school. And I could like ask for like a better coach out of that to do that.
Mm-hmm.
it was extremely hard though.
Yeah, I honestly like I when when everyone told me there was wrestling in school, I was like, I can do wrestling in school. And then I looked at wrestling, I was like, no chance, I'm not doing that. And then I always like kind of hated on the sport. And then my break from professional wrestling, I became obsessed with mixed martial arts. And this is before like UFC was on television. Well,
Yeah.
actually, professional wrestling got me into UFC because Ken Shamrock, Tito Ortiz won. And I was like, wait,
Yeah.
Ken Shamrock he fights for real? And then I was done. I was completely hooked at MMA. And then watching women's MMA transfer, and then you see girls like Sarah McMahon, and you're like, wait, there's Olympic style amateur wrestling for females and female jiu-jitsu. And then you're like, why is this not transitioning to MMA? And then the flood came, and then everybody came in, and all those amateur women who then transitioned from judo to kickboxing all flooded the market. And that it's probably one of the fastest growing sports I've ever seen in my life. Like
Oh,
MMA
for sure.
changed overnight. And it's
Mhm.
cool because that style of women's MMA and women's wrestling then changed how we watch professional wrestling, because
For
women
sure.
were being treated not as divas and as brawn panty matches. They were literally like, oh, we can ground wrestle, we can chain wrestle, we can do that. Like, and it changed how we watch women's wrestling. Like, people hate on Ronda, but her first year, she changed the game.
No,
Um,
without a doubt.
yeah, I love
Without
her first year. Second year, I think she struggles character wise, but her in ring is still fine if you put her in the right people.
a doubt.
But yeah, so it's kind of cool that you're part of that generation where you're falling. All the pieces are aligning perfectly. Because if you were 10, 15 years older, you would be in that bubble where you're kind of stuck. Like, I want to take this seriously, but women's wrestling's not taken seriously.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's like the one aspect of professional wrestling I gravitated to most. It wasn't necessarily the characters or like the big flashy gear or what it may be. It was more so the athleticism and like the brutality and aggression that is in the ring, because that's what I love the most about it. It's like, sure, we love our Shawn Michaels, we love our Rocks, you
That's
know what
my
I mean?
favorite.
Like they are charismatic as hell. But for me, it was more so the sports aspect of it that really drew me into it.
Who were some of your favorites? Like when they would come on the screen, like they were your go-tos.
I'm gonna give a cop-out answer right now. I really love Eddie Guerrero, of course. Everyone does. He's just probably one of the best to do it. But like I was more so drawn into like the Dean Malenkos and what you mentioned before, the Ken Shamrocks and you know, the Kurt Angles, Benoit's, all those people. Like they are the people that really
Yeah.
Workhorses. Those are the ones that I fell in love with.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't really appreciate them at the time, and then once I seen like the Kyle O'Reillys and stuff of the world, and I was like, oh, how people transition the MMA over. I was like, oh, like Kurt Angle. I've always loved Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle's on like on my Mount Rushmore of my favorites. He's absolutely insane. But yeah, I was a Sean guy through and through. I was one of those kid fans that like I picked my like 3 favorites and everybody else can jump off a bridge. I didn't care.
I give it to me.
Yeah. So going through school, amateur wrestling, you said you found your school. With like, how did you go about the process of finding your like the Chikara dojo and stuff? Was it through like online searches? Was it you met somebody who then transferred you over? Like, because that's what people say a lot of times too, is like, I want to get into this, but how? And it's really not as hard as people think it is. You just gotta find what fits for you best.
Yeah. It was weird because like all throughout high school, obviously in my head, I wanted to do it my whole life. So I wanted to research all this like right away. Like I wanted to know like what I had to do, like you know, gym wise, like what I have to do to like physically like get into a school. So like I was just researching online as you may Google. And like the first couple schools that came out was the Wrestle Factory, it was Worldwide Dojo, and I think it was like a CZW type of training school that was going on at the time. And I wasn't necessarily familiar with the Worldwide Dojo at the time, and I wasn't really into like the hardcore scene that was, you know, CZW. So I thought that like lucha base, and because I was a fan, the Wrestle Factory was probably like the best place to go when it comes to like body control and like just the little technical like basic stuff for wrestling. So that's the one that kind of drew me in completely. So I was just like, this is the closest one to me. I was gonna do that one, and it was just like instant, like this is like my final decision coming into graduating high school. That was like the first thing that I did.
And your family and situation, they were like, yeah, you can go do wrestling. That's cool.
It was like a black or white situation where it's like my family was huge fans for a long time, and then they kind of fell off. My mother is very much against it to this day because she is very much terrified for my well-being.
Yeah.
But like my brother and definitely my father are like one of like the biggest supporters that I have for wrestling, and they want me to go all the way with it. So I get emotional about it.
No, that the emotion is good because it like you're passionate about what you're doing, and that's cool to see. And honestly, that like meeting you that day at the event, that comes out of you. Your passion and your passion of being there comes out. It was cool to see. Like when your match was done, you were out and you were watching everybody else's matches. You were into what was happening that day. When you were in the locker room, you were engaging with people. Like that's all the perfect things you need to do when you're in a locker room and you're brand new to a locker room and maybe you only know 2 or 3 people, but you leave there and you're like, I met 4 or 5 new cool people. You know what I mean? Like that's my favorite part of every weekend is going to a wrestling show is obviously reconnecting with your friends, but then also finding new people and making those connections.
Right. And that's just the weird thing because I'm a fan through and through, regardless of anything. So like, even though like I'm booked on a show, I do everything to watch every single match that's on the card because as a fan aspect, and also just to see maybe I can learn something from watching it. You know, that's just the part. Like, even though like people say that's the right thing to do, I just do it naturally because that's just what I feel like that I should do in that aspect.
Yeah. And it's a good way to be like, I'm at my merch table, but you're really just you know.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here in the chat real quick. We'll give a quick break here, but a lot of people here. So we have the SWA GM in the chat saying, "My guy," dropping the Discord link. So make sure you go check out that Discord. ABJ before dinner, cool. Looking forward to watching some Miss Harleen before work. So this is little Gavin. Gavin is is a super fan, and he comes to every show dressed as an old school wrestler.
Oh hell yeah!
You will meet if you're in the High Tension Network and you start like working in that crowd more and doing more. You will come to a show and you'll be bestowed a gift, which is usually a giant poster board of your drawing. Like they draw you.
Oh man!
If you get the Gavin drawing, you have made it. I got one a long time ago with my whole podcast team. I need an updated one, by the way. But yeah, it's beautiful. Gavin and his dad are the coolest fans of all time, so you'll get to meet Gavin very soon.
Oh, yeah.
Geeking out with the Metal Geek is hanging out with us. Jake the Tribal Chief is here saying what's up. Leon the King and Dylan Quinn says get familiar with this chick is right here because she's about to take over the entire damn wrestling world.
So much pressure.
HCW Network, we believe in Harleen for sure. Her ability and charisma and professionalism go all the way. We're excited to be working with her. She says she reminds you of Tamina.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
She is a legendary name for professional wrestling, so I'll take it.
Yeah. So, now that you're in the business, you said you've been in about a year and a half now. About how many matches would you say are you in the double, triple digits yet?
I am. So this past weekend, I just had my 31st match, I believe so. And it just was basically like matches that I've had, like getting into cards with people and just like having a show and pre-shows. So like they added up really fast. So 31 right now.
Nice. And you just wrestled someone who you are a huge fan of and got to get in there with your first, what you would say, name of the business. If you want to walk us through that and let us know who that was.
Ooh. Someone who I've probably idolized and researched for so long. Evelise, better known as being a part of like the NXT and the Tough Enough gang back in the day.
She was also a Lucha Underground for a minute too, right?
Yeah. She was a big star on Lucha Underground and possibly one of the people whose work that I've admired the most growing up. And it's so bizarre how this all turned out. Mega Championship Wrestling was the one that gave me this opportunity. So I want to give a big thank you to them because without them believing in my work, I wouldn't have had this match. Originally, I wasn't scheduled to be a part of this match. So it was meant to be Evelise versus Megan Myers, who's also a really incredible talent that I want to give a shout out to because she is incredible. And she was given like another opportunity that she had to like, step away for this match for. So they reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to wrestle so-and-so? And I'm just like, oh God, okay, this is real life right now.
Yeah.
And I accepted the offer. I could have freaking wrestled her for free for how much that I've loved her. And the match went incredibly well. The crowd was definitely invested in it. I don't know what I did for them. And it was just basically like a dream come true, that whole match. Just leading up to it and everything about it just like made sense. And it was just probably like the best experience so far when I had.
How was it, like, kind of pull the curtain back a little bit? How was it setting up the match with her backstage and being, you said you're only 30 matches in and her been doing this forever and has been on TV and has been established. How was it for, like, what did you pull away from her? Because I talk to a lot of people a lot, and people say, like, usually when you have that moment backstage with a talent who's out of that caliber, it evolves you like Pokemon style. You evolve to another level because you get a little bit of that rub and you get that experience of like, oh, this is how they do this, and it changes you who you are in this business if you get a right situation.
We'll pull it back a little bit. The whole thing was very easygoing. She was extremely nice to me, and it's just the fact that like I was able to work with her and like she was willing to take as many things that I wanted to like throw out there. It was very humbling, and she brought out an aggression in me that I very much needed. The whole match, it was intense, it was brutal. There was a lot of chops in there. If you ready to like watch that back, it was insane. And she just showed me just a sense of confidence that I've been missing. She made sure that I was comfortable in there, and just the little things, when it comes to a match, when it comes to just the confidence, like reading the crowd, just taking those moments in a match, she really taught me like how to actually appreciate it. So
now you said before a lot of your style is based off the work rate. You want to go in there and get the work rate in. Would you say maybe like if you say you have to work on something on you as a character now, would it be the character work side of thing and playing to a crowd? Because your style is pretty much just go in there and push that work rate style.
I believe so, yes, because like with me in there, I'm always focused on like the work rate as you may, where it's like the submissions, the grapples, the technician, but I want to also show me. I want to show who I am besides from that. I want to show that, like the hard side, or like more so like I would say the bubbly side to me, where it's like I can connect, like I am one of you, like I can connect with you because like we have this connection here. And I don't want to show just like I'm able to kick ass. I also want to show that I am someone that you will not forget, of course.
Leon the King says, have you wrestled for GCW? They have some great talent.
GCW have phenomenal talent there. I have not worked with them yet. Maybe one day down the line if I manifest this. But they are a company that I would want to work down the line. Yeah.
Yeah, I hopefully High Tension Alex is still in the chat. I'm gonna put something out here. I'm gonna try to manifest something. Hopefully Frog Sport comes back. I don't know if you've ever seen Frog Sport.
I have seen Frog Sport. Yeah.
Frog Sport. I think you would be a great fit for that. And I think you could easily be like the female Matt Mikowski because you come from a wrestling background and a grappling background, and you know how to do a lot of that. And I think you both possess the same attitude where it's just like, hey, our character is just, we're badasses. You're gonna come in because we legit have a background. We legit can take you to the ground, and if we really wanted to hold you down, you ain't getting up. You know what I mean?
Right.
and I think that's kind of dope. So maybe if like that's a mixed tag somewhere down the line, or if Frog Sport makes its return, between High Tension doing Frog Sport and now having a collaboration with CFU, and that's a whole other women's division of Frog Sport. There's a lot of cool possibilities.
No, for sure. And I love Matt Mikowski's work. He's one of the best, I would say. I met him only once, but that one time he was like extremely nice to me. So
I cannot wait for him to come back and be 100% and start getting in the ring, because he is a treasure, that guy.
For sure.
Who are some people on the independent scene that you really would like to work, or at this current time? So we say like the hit list. Like I know we're 3 months into the new year, but who are some people that are on your list that you would say I'd love to get in there and mix it up with?
Gosh, there is a ton of people out there. I would say, of course, like one of my good friends, Abby Jane. I really want to have like a really good match with her because I feel like whenever we're training together, we have incredible chemistry. So I want to have a match with her down the line. There's people that I watch all the time from the women's side, like Masha, that's just killing it right now, and Killer Kelly.
I literally just got, I don't know if you see him over here, I just got 2 brand new Masha shirts.
Oh my God. I'm waiting to get those. Listen, they're so good.
You and Masha would be fun.
Oh no, without doubt. I want to like go in there and we beat the hell out of each other. That's literally what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So are you into the strong style where things get a little stiff? And
yes. I'll admit it to 100%. I do. I love like just the Japanese style, of course, as well. Just like people in there like Kota Ibushi, was like for a long time one of my top 5. We got people that came through to the US like Kenny Omega. Like those people, just like I love strong style so much, where it's like this is brutal, this is violent, this is exactly what I need. And this
you know who, if you want that style matchup, you know who somebody you should probably put on that list too? She's very goofy and funny, and you don't think people don't take her seriously, and then the match starts and she beats the shit out of everybody. Erica Lee.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen someone look like they're legit hurting their opponents like Erica Lee does. I've seen Erica Lee in matches where I'm like, she is killing people, but she's honestly one of my favorite people to watch on the scene. Another one that was awesome on the scene, who also can work really good strong style, but she reminds me of the bunnies. Remember the bunnies, the old cartoons? Like the bunnies are all happy and then they snap and they turn to like these vicious animals. Willow Nightingale was always in that list too, where halfway through a match she pulls the straps down and Willow's in angry mode and she just strong style beats the shit out of you. Like, there are 2 other names.
I'm a huge fan of Willow. I just love the fact that she seems so bubbly and nice and sweet and innocent. And then when the second she's in there, she's like someone that you can't mess with. And I love that. Like
Yeah.
that transition.
I think she is going to have a very, very bright future in AEW and ROH.
For sure.
I think she's going to be someone that we're in 5-10 years, she's going to be a world champion.
I believe so. Yeah. I agree with
she's very, very talented. Who else is out there? Some name wise.
There's just so much incredible, like talented women out there that I would love to wrestle. There's someone who I've been training for a long time, and she's established her name like slowly but surely. Her name is Damaris. She's probably like one of the best technicians that there is.
Damaris?
Yes.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. I just wrestled a match for Fight Pro that has not been released yet, but like they made the announcement already. Gia Scott, I just want to have a rematch with her. She's probably like one of the best that I've probably been in there with, and I know we could do so much more than we did in that one match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are you into intergender matches? Are you like you want to mix it up with any of the guys out there?
Oh, for sure. But like that's more so if they want to come to me and they want to actually they want to challenge me, I'll be like, I'll step it up right now.
You know, it's one of those things too where it's funny, and I talk to a lot of the female talent. And they're like, we love working other girls, but sometimes if the other girl's not willing to lay a shot in, it's like, oh, you're kind of bummed out by it. But then you work at a dude, and the dude's like, hit me, you know what I mean? And then they kill each other, which is why I thought going into it, why you and Riley probably had one of the most exciting matches I've seen in a while. You know, because you guys went out there and you were laying them in. You guys were putting some shots in on each other, and it looked really fun. And she even said afterwards, she goes, that was a blast. I told her 100% lay the shots in, and then she got a little cheeky at the end, and she was kind of rubbing it in your face after the loss. And you threw some kicks up at her. I was like, this is good.
Yeah. Oh, Riley was really fun to work with. She does hit hard, but here's the thing, I hit way harder.
She's Samoan trained, so she knows how to put the shots in. Yeah.
I would love to have a match with her down line.
How was that match? Making your essential high tension debut there.
Oh, I feel like it was incredible. I feel like the crowd really gave me a warm welcome, which I didn't expect at all. And the striker scenes that we had in that match, and the crowd just like slowly but surely rising up for it was probably like the best thing out of it that I've probably gotten, and I would love to have a rematch with her down the line for sure. Like we have unfinished business.
Yeah, I love it. I need it all. What was I had another one. I just completely lost it. Well, let's maybe shift gears a little bit from the wrestling side to personal side stuff. Besides professional wrestling, what are some of your hobbies?
Besides from professional wrestling, even though it's very much an overwhelming thing in my life, I really am into like fitness, of course. Like I love like CrossFit, and I love bodybuilding. Like I'm really into those type of things. And aside from that, like I am very dedicated to my veganism. So next month is going to be my 9 years since becoming a vegan.
Wow.
And I'm very passionate about that. I'm very much an advocate for veganism and for the animals, and like I love doing those type of things. I do have an interest in music, but the problem is if you ask me anything about like artist names or like history behind it, I am going to be completely honest, I don't know much about. But just the music itself, like I grew up on punk rock and pop punk and things like that, heavy metal. Those are it's like if I need a really good song on my playlist when I'm at the gym, those are the things I go to.
I love that. Leon the King said, I think Battle Club would be a great fit for you. Honestly, yeah. Battle that's up in New York. I believe Mosh is one of the trainers there.
Yeah.
There's a girl that was a part of a school up there. She was wrestling in a promotion I seen her in, and she had a great character, great look. In ring, she was getting there, but she needed a little oomph to her. And she switched over, went to Battle Club and trained with Masha, and now she's killing the game. She'll be on the podcast next month. Cosmic.
Cosmic. Okay.
Yes, and she's also like super into like the anime and the pop culture stuff. So two peas in a pod. But yeah, the veganism. So I actually had my first vegan food. I'm definitely not vegan, but I'll try anything. But and it was at a wrestling show. So if you go to the LVAC shows, there's a certain man who is like the king of the vegans, and that's Ultra Manus Black.
Yes.
And
familiar with him.
I had vegan pizza, I had vegan
Ooh.
donuts, and there was something else I had, and it was all really, really good. I ate the pizza, and I was like, I would have, if you would have just said, "Here's a slice of pizza," I would have never guessed it was vegan pizza. Same with the donut. It wasn't. It was good.
Yeah, vegan food was surprising, man.
Yeah. Also, the runner up for the vegan of the world would probably Leo Sparrow. If I probably don't say his name, he would have a heart attack. That would his whole gimmick is the vegan get. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever met him?
I have not actually. No.
He's out of Creative Pro, so he was out of the class with Max. He was trained from Max Caster, who essentially was like, and he's always around with Cardona and Myers. He's always on the Major Wrestling Podcast, but his whole thing is he comes out green tights, he throws spinach. Like if he's a good guy, he throws spinach in the air. If he's a bad guy, he throws it in your face. He kind of does like the Daniel Bryant, the champion of the world, like the eco champion of the world. So when he's heel, he does that role, but he's also a fun baby face. But yeah,
we love this. Yeah, I will look up to his work because, like, honestly, that sounds like probably my new best friend.
yeah. I think you'll really enjoy him. He's really, really funny, and he's very talented. He comes from a really good school up in New York, and he's been doing very well. He actually came up with these. I wish I had one on me. It's not in any of these notebooks, I don't think. Let me just double check. No, it's not. But he has a card he makes, and he has like hundreds of them, and he keeps them in his bag. And then when he goes up to commentary, he hands you a card, and it's his name, his like all his stats, everything, like everything he would want put over on commentary. He hands you a commentary card. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, I just keep it in my binder now, and I was like, it's genius that he came up like that. He does that.
It's pretty smart. Shit.
Yeah. Leon says, what are some of your favorite restaurants and pizza places?
Oh, restaurants. So it's really hard to find vegan restaurants when you're on the road, which kind of sucks. But there is one nearby in Jersey that I love going to, and it's called Good Beats, and they have all vegan foods, all vegan desserts, vegan ice cream's probably like the hit there. Aside from that, I just go to like a lot of vegan cafes, and once I'm there, I give them the big shout out. I cannot remember the names for the life of me. But
what do you do when you're on the road? So like, for people who don't know, when you're on the life on the road, whether you're a musician or a professional wrestler, you become a gas station connoisseur. You find out what's good, what you can do, what you can't do. So what do you do when you're on the road and you're hungry? Are you always meal prepping and bringing stuff with you, or do you kind of hope and pray if you find something when you're out there?
If it's like a back-to-back booking throughout the weekend, I do my best to meal prep whenever I can. I'm also very much psychotic when it comes to meal prepping because I like to keep track of all my macros, how much protein I'm taking in, how much carbs I'm taking in. So I meal prep before I head on the road. If it's just like one show, like let's say like in PA, or let's say if I go all the way to New York, I try my best to find somewhere like a Sheetz or a Wawa, and I would DIY a lot. So like DIY like a burrito with all these veggies on it, or DIY like bowls. And the one thing that people always say that I should really like start eating on the road is probably salads, and I'm like, no, they lack nutrition sometimes. But it is hard, but like I try my best to like always have something regardless.
Yeah. They always yell at Sparrow. They say, "Oh, you get some protein in you," and he goes, "I guarantee you, as a vegan, I have more protein in my diet than you probably do, and you eat meat." I respect it, but there's zero chance I can give up cheeseburgers. I
feel you.
Yeah.
It's cheese, right? It's the cheese, it's the bun. I get it, but
and this is why I'm built like Buddha. You know what I mean? That's why I'm built like a god. It's just not the one you want. Yeah. So we're peeping at the background. We see Pikachus. We see Raw posters. We see, what are they, DVDs or video games? What do we got going on?
They are DVDs. This is my little collection of DVDs that I have for wrestling. Almost every other pay-per-view from, I think I would say 2001 to like recent, because even though I have like live streaming services, I love having it physically. So this is
you're a physical media collector.
Yes. So this was like, I would say like 20% of what I have. Most of the things I have else is packed away in bins. Yeah.
What is your favorite pay-per-view?
Ooh, I'm gonna be. Oh, this is like very much a biased answer, but I would say either SummerSlam or Mania because Mania is coming up.
Yeah. Are you excited for this Mania?
Oh, for sure. Even though it took me a second to know exactly what the card is because it's really hard to keep up with the main Fed nowadays.
Yeah.
But I am very much excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And then the collective started today, so I think there's like it already the first 2 shows I think are done. I at 7:00 tonight I will be tuning into Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. That is one of my favorite shows, so I can't wait for that. And then I think it's 3:00 in the morning our time, but 12:00 their time is For the Culture is today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is really cool. Would you be up for acting in an indie film business?
I wouldn't be opposed to it. Acting is not my strong suit, sadly. When I had the option in high school to either go become a theater kid or wrestling, I chose wrestling. So.
And they're hand in hand.
Yeah.
Well, you like horror movies. You could be a final girl or get killed early, and then you're in and out.
Come out as a surprise at the end and like murder the murderer.
You're the killer. Yeah. You take off the scream mask and you're like, gotcha.
Yes.
What type of genre movies are you really into? Like, what would you say some of your favorites?
I would say horror is like my number one. Any other I'm very much uncultured on, but I do love like a good anything to do with like Marvel movies. I'm a huge fan of those. But like horror is my number one. So like I was obsessed with like the Saw movies, like the franchise for the longest time. I just got back into the Scream franchise. Really huge fan of those.
The new one was really good.
My genre of movies more so like even like the horror aspect and more so like the gory either the gore or the thriller aspects of the horror movies that I really love. I really love like the Chucky franchise as well. I'm a huge fan of that. And even like the new TV show that came out, it's
really good. It was really good. You know who's fun to talk horror movies with on the wrestling scene? Shay McCoy. She is a huge horror fan. Yeah.
Okay.
She's a good time to talk horror. Every time I see her, I'm like, you see anything new? What's the scoop? What should I see? She watches the indie ones. Like she knows. She's on the know of like the real like go seek this one out. And she's really good.
I just met her recently because we just worked on an Orochi show like a couple months back, and she was fantastic. And I feel like obviously you just told me that now. I'm gonna hit her up right now and ask her about these horror movies.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to horror and professional wrestling, have you ever seen the See No Evils?
Sadly, I have.
Sadly, what do you mean? They're awesome. I like them.
They are good in the aspect of I feel like they're not terrible, but
they're good. They're good. Creepy guy stalks a bunch of people, has really good gore scenes. Yeah. Plot lines weird, but just it's Kane killing people.
Yeah. What else do you ask for?
And the first one takes place in the Blackwell Hotel, which is my last name, so that's kind of dope. See. Yeah, well, that's actually one of my wife's not really into horror, not into wrestling, but See No Evil is one of her favorites. She likes that one because the killer, because Kane, he looks menacing.
Yeah. Well,
Jacob, good night. Oof. Am I seeing something you're not?
I don't get what that means.
I don't know what that means either. Maybe somebody else commented something and it got taken off.
Oh,
maybe that's what happened.
Now
I'm curious. I'm curious what's happening here. So you see the Pokemon. Are you a gamer?
I am a gamer. Yes. More so like the older stuff, of course. Nowadays, I fallen off a little bit. Pokemon I loved because it was like growing up, I gravitated towards it, but like again with the connection with the horror, I really love like the Resident Evils and like.
Jacob Goodnight was the name of the character. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Who's your favorite Pokemon?
This one's gonna be really funny to hear. It's very much an unpopular opinion, but I do love Jigglypuff. Why? There's no reason behind it.
It's cute. I'm a Gengar. I like the ghost Pokemon. Gengar, Hunter, Ghastly. But Gengar is my favorite.
Okay.
Just a fat little thing with what do they also? It's a dead Clefairy, isn't that the whole like deal behind it. They think it's like the ghost of a Clefairy. But I
Right.
always liked what was the if you actually read some of the like Pokedex entries, like some of those Pokemon are dark and creepy and scary. Like it lures children in by singing, and then it eats them in the bushes. Like it's like what?
It's a little thrilling. Yeah. What are we trying to get at that?
The what was it? The Mimikyu, where it's obsessed with Pikachu, and it's like, but if it takes off its costume, like it's so horrifying, you would die if you look at it or something like that. It's like, that's some dark shit Pokemon.
Maybe that's the appeal. Maybe that's exactly what they're trying to get at.
Yeah, like if you dive in, you'll have more of an appreciation for Pokemon. So what are some things you know that you have planned going forward? Obviously, we talked about some talent you want to work for, but what are some goals you're setting for yourself for the rest of 2023 that you're trying to accomplish?
My goal, that is a really hard one. Oh God, I'm putting on the spot right now. I just want to keep working hard and like go as many promotions as I can, make a name for myself. I just want to get my name out there right now because this is still like the beginning stages for me. And if I can get on as many promotions as I can and connect with as many people as I can, then that's really just the goal that I have right now.
It's doing this interview. It's so infectious how passionate you are about this. Like when you're talking about wrestling, you're on the brink of tears almost. Like you are that passionate. You are that I don't know. I didn't know if you were just nervous for the podcast, but we just talked about Pokemon and movies and horror movies, and it was normal. But as soon as we talk about wrestling, you get choked up. Like you truly love this business. That's
for sure.
It's infectious. It's super. No, it's awesome to see. They're like, I don't know. I guess most of the people you work with have been doing it for so long that they become numb to it. But you're in those early stages where it's like, I don't lose that because like I think that's gonna be a good hunger and a fuel and a drive for you. Like, is there more to the wrestling business? Like how you always said, I don't want to get choked up. Like, is there more to like driving factor of why this industry means so much to you?
I just more so on a real note, I feel like just growing up with it and just like the fact that growing up, it wasn't necessarily like the best childhood, I would say, for myself. I went through a lot of dark things and wrestling was the one thing that kept me sane for the longest time. And it gave me an infectious and just I guess you say a distraction at times. That drove me away from all that darkness for so long that now even though I wanted to do it for so long, just being in it, I want to give back to the one thing that gave me so much, basically like light back in my life. Yeah. So that's why like I respect it so much and I want to do everything possible just to like put that name of wrestling, like put respect to it. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to just come in here and do whatever. I want to like put in so much work as I can in there. I want to like be respectful to my peers. I want to be able to just give back to the one thing that gave me so much.
Yeah. Do you have an end goal to this? Do you want to make it to a WWE, AEW, or are you kind of just whatever comes as long as I'm in the industry, I'm happy with it?
Down the line, my biggest dream and my goal, I want to wrestle in Japan one day. That is like my number one, whether it be a Stardom or Shine or whatever it may be, whatever company it may be, just wrestling in Japan and making a name for myself down there. Now, like one time down the line is my end goal. AEW, cool. Like I love AEW so much. I follow, and if I have a chance there one day, that's also amazing. The main like WWE, even though I loved it so much and like that was the number one thing I watched for so long, that is not my end goal. And maybe that is a bad thing to think about. I don't know. But
not really.
I don't know. It's just like it never really appealed to me because the second I were to, let's say, be signed to a WWE contract now, like way down the line, it wouldn't necessarily feel the same. You know, like because like I love professional wrestling so much that like the second you get into like a big company like that, you are seen differently, and like the way that you put in so much time into your character and your work on your own is a little bit taken away from you when you get there. At least that's the perspective I have.
And it seems like a lot of times too, when someone's put into that system, when they then leave, it's hard for them to re-identify themselves because everywhere they go, everyone identifies them as their WWE character. I mean, look at Athena. She's for everyone kept calling her Ember. She's like Athena, but it's okay. Like just trying to break that barrier. You know what I mean? And not a lot of people from WWE when they start in that system, they have a hard time coming out of it. But then you look at the guys like Adam Cole and stuff, who they were established before WWE, then went there, and then they're fine when they leave. But when people get snatched up young by them, they have a hard time. I think the only person who really left that system and really reinvented themselves and changed and did everything differently was Cody and Matt Cardona.
Yeah. But they went through so much hell just to like be able to be represented, even though like Cody kind of came back. But besides from that, like they worked their asses off to make a name for themselves outside of it.
Did you see what Cody's doing for Mania this year?
I think he's going for like the world title, I believe so.
So you know how he wears the weightlifting belts? So on the inside of his weightlifting belt, it's inscribed every independent wrestling company that he worked for when he left WWE and came back to WWE. So like ROH, every indie promotion, every promotion in Japan that gave him an opportunity that he went out and cut his teeth on to get him to where he is to get back to WrestleMania, he has all inscribed on the inside of his weightlifting belt.
That's crazy. That's the shit I love, dude. Like that.
Because a lot of people come back to the indie scene, they blow up and then they go back to TV and they forget, that the indie scene is still a thing, and they don't put it over because they treat it like it's not a thing. And for Cody to do that is pretty dope. And real quick, thank you to Al De Niro's way for the subscribe. Appreciate you,
Al De Niro, man. That's another friend of mine that's in this business. He's kicking ass. I wish there's more people to actually see his work. He is great.
That sounds like a really good mob name, Al De Niro's way. Carlito's way, but Al De Niro, like Al Pacino, but Robert De Niro. I'm getting all those dope mob vibes.
Yes.
But yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. Is there any other moments or stories that you want to get out there that you want to tell people about?
I'm not entirely sure. I just love professional wrestling so much, and I want to like show as much and put much like grit and hard work into it, and just to show that I am capable of a lot of things. So hopefully I just, give wrestling the respect that like it really deserves.
Do you want to work more babyface or heel? Like, what would you, if you had your idea, what would you want to be?
Down the line, I would love to be a heel because that just gives me all the freedom in the world to do whatever I want.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Like your actual personality, you would be the greatest golden baby face of all time.
Oh,
like
no.
you are like Abby Jane in a way where you're like, I love everything about this business, and like going out there like, I will fight so hard to get this, but then also you know how to put the look on and the leather jacket and the you're like, I'll kill you, you know what I mean? Like yeah, it's you have versatility. It's dope.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I really hope there's more opportunities for us to work together on different scenes and keep coming back to High Tension, because just that one experience we had together, it was really cool, and it speaks volumes of who you are. I can't wait to keep watching your social media game is dope. So it's always it's fun watching people's stuff. Yeah, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on social media. My Instagram is Jazz with 2 O's Soto with a little line. Twitter is Harleen X Lopez with another little line thing. What are these called? I don't even
underscore
know. Underscores. There we go. Little underscores there. I have a Facebook page under the same name, and my YouTube channel is also under my same name. You can watch my matches on there, and you just support the journey right now.
How did you land on the name Harleen?
Oh. So it's really funny, actually. So I was going down to help out for Mega Championship Wrestling. I was in the car with Sonny Defarge, another great mentor and trainer of mine. I was in there with him, a good friend of mine named Junie Underwood, and I believe it was Evelyn Sage, my former tag partner. Long story with her. We're not long tag partners. And we were driving down there to help out for a show. And I was just reading a Harley Quinn comic book because that's another love of mine. I love comic books so much. I was just reading through one of those. We get to the show, was helping out. Promoter came up to me and he's like, "Hey, do you want to wrestle a match tonight?" And that would have been my debut match. So I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "Okay, what's your name?" And I was like, "Harleen." This sounds pretty sweet. So it was just on a whim that night.
Yeah.
That just came about.
I believe the last one I read that was like hers was actually called, it wasn't called Harley, it was called Harleen, and it was
Yeah.
her origin story of how she met the Joker, and she was bouncing back and forth between going home and going crazy because the stuff Joker was planting in her head. It was a really, really good comic. I think it was only like a 1-issue thing or like a 3-issue thing, and they put it into one book. But it was really, really good. It was dark.
No, yeah, because like it's just the origin story between those two. It's just like it gets real like unsettling.
Yeah. Did you see the someone filmed a scene, or like they took a scene of Lady Gaga going up the stairs as Harley Quinn, like at the courthouse. So I guess she's like going up the courthouse and everyone's yelling at her and screaming at her. And the one lady says something like, she says something to her and she just turns and like kisses her and then like pushes her away. Like, but if the whole movie is a musical, I'm gonna be really disappointed. But I really want to see her as Harley Quinn.
Oh no, I believe that. But Margot Robbie's doing a really good job right now, so it's hard to like.
You know who my dream booking would have been for Harley?
What's that?
She's no longer with us, but I thought Brittany Murphy would have been amazing Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah, that would have been my dream casting, was Brittany Murphy for Harley Quinn. Yeah, I thought she would have been fantastic. But Lady Gaga can do no wrong. The one I didn't even see the whole season of American Horror Story. I just seen the first episode where they had the gratuitous foursome with the knife finger. And I was like, Lady Gaga needs to be in more horror.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love American Horror Story, but when that season probably like is my favorite one, just because of her and like how well, and because of how well she like incorporated the character.
Yeah, and that was loosely based off the Cecil in LA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, where that whole story where the lady was found in like the water tank.
Water tank. Yeah. She was in an elevator and somehow she ended up there.
And they still have no idea how she got in. Yeah, that's a crazy thing. Yeah. Here you go. Do you think Harleen would think William Dafoe would be a good Joker, or would have been? Of course. Sure. His face looks like the Joker.
Just visually,
he has a big smile. He would be perfect as Joker. The only other person that would be as good as a Joker would be Mark Hamill if he played the Joker. But
I see that.
Just because his voice and stuff. But once again, we'll give somebody a couple minutes here. If you guys have any last questions that you would like to ask Harleen, please put them out there, and we'll wrap this one up soon. And once again, I want to thank you so much for doing this. Your first ever podcast. How do you feel about it?
It went better than I expected.
I told you it goes quick, right?
Yeah, and thankfully it was with you of all people. You are an amazing host, and I love this podcast so much. So I hope more eyes are get on it. You know what I mean?
And listen, the door's always open. If you have any cool stories or more things that come up, always please come back. Also, if you want to come and watch, I think later on tonight we're doing a live stream of WrestleMania 28. So we always welcome people. So we pick a wrestling event and then we all watch it, and then we come back the next week and talk about the event and what we thought of it. Did it age well? Did the matches on it were good? So if you ever want to jump in on those with us, the door's always open.
For sure. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'll definitely look it up.
Is Halloween 4 Return of Michael Myers your favorite Halloween, or was it good to you? I like the plot. Halloween 4.
If I don't remember it, I would say it was okay.
Yeah, it was not good. I'm sorry.
I don't remember much of it.
So Halloween, here's my hot take. Halloween was my favorite horror movie franchise as a kid because the character got me through the movies. Yeah. And then I didn't care about the plots because I was a kid. All I wanted was the character and that character to kill people. Yeah. And then I got older and rewatched the Halloween movies, and I was like, Part 1 is a masterpiece. It's the best one of the best horror movies ever made. Part 2 was a good movie. Part 3 was a fantastic movie, even though it had nothing to do with horror. Michael Myers. For a standalone movie, it was fantastic. Everything after that was dog shit until H2O was kind of cool because Jamie Lee Curtis came back. Yeah, and then the remake, like the Halloween, the new version, was good, and then Halloween Ends and Kills, awful.
Yeah, all nostalgia based at this point. So.
Yeah. I was a huge Michael fan, and I hated Jason, and then I got older and rewatched both movie franchises, and I like Jason more than I like Michael now, but Freddie and Chucky are my favorites.
For sure. Yeah, no, same here.
but you're rooting for them the whole time. Like, they're not even horror people at this point. You're like, yeah, go get them. You know what I mean?
I want to murder everybody at this point.
yeah, it's just crazy. But all right, well, Leon will wrap it up with that Halloween 4 question. You had the whole podcast and you ended it with a Halloween 4 question. Leon the King.
Dude.
You're killing me, Smalls. But everyone go check out all her social medias. Please go subscribe, comment all her stuff, and be like, you are awesome on the ABJ podcast. You know, put it all out there. And if you are listening and you're another content creator, because I know you are, book her for an interview. See, she got it out of the way. She's ready to go. You know, we got her all primed up. Yeah. It was awesome. I had a blast. Like I said, the door's always open. I can't wait to watch more of your career and what you do. And like I said, the Worldwide Dojo is a great place to be, and I think you're gonna thrive there.
Oh, thank you so much.
Put a good word in the cheeseburger. I'd like to have cheeseburger on the podcast, and Demarius, honestly, too.
Yeah. Burger's on a trip in Mexico right now, but once he gets back, I'm gonna bother the hell out of him. Yeah.
Every time I see Demarius, we always talk football. And I don't even like the Eagles, but I talk football with her all the time. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm anti. Leland goes, I actually just tried booking her.
Ooh, who is these?
Maybe for the heart. I think he was trying to see if you wanted to be in a movie. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, my messages are open.
Yeah, slide in those DMs. Another name you said too, a huge fan of it, is Defarge, Sonny.
Defarge, yes. Oh man.
Crumbles and Defarge is one of my favorite tag teams. I don't want the outfielders to ever lose those titles, but I always said if they are going to, it has to be Crumbles and Defarge.
For sure. Their team so is probably good. One of my favorites.
They're so good. So good. He's so wildly entertaining.
He deserves to be Sonny Defarge is probably one of the most talented people and trainers that I've had. And he honestly deserves way more in this industry where he should be on television every single week.
Yeah, he's really good. And then he's been working a lot with Brian Ace, who I've just fell in love with. As I already loved him as a human.
Also another one of my friends. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as a wrestler, I pull him aside every time, like, dude, keep doing what you're doing. Like, you're killing it. You're doing such a good job. Like, he moves very well for his size. He bumps really well. His facial expressions are so good. Like, that kid's gonna do some cool shit.
He is gonna, and I've seen the beginning stages. Like, we started around the same time, so I've seen all the struggles.
I gotta get Brian. I'm writing that down. Brian Ace. I gotta reach out to him.
Get Brian Ace on this podcast.
Hey, how is Brian Ace not booked? We need to get him. You just made the list.
His Clear the Lane thing. Oh my god, it's the best. Is it?
Yeah, that's happening. All right, Harleen, thank you so much. It was an absolute blast. We've said this like 5 times. I don't want to let you go, but it was awesome. Good. Hang out backstage before when the credits and stuff are on. I'll give you a proper goodbye. But everyone, thank you so much for tuning into the ABJ podcast. We do have a special episode coming up on Monday. Mary is back. She's coming. She's on the podcast. We're gonna get her on Monday. And then from there, we will continue as normal, as processed. So I'll give you a quick rundown. I don't have the graphics up because I had to redo all the graphics to change all the numbers because things moved around. But we got Pete Corvus, Dylan Mesh, Rembrandt, Daniel Alexander, Mr. Sam, James, Kit Raff, Cosmic, and Ricky Price, that dirtball scumbag. But that will be all through the month of April. I'm already booked all through May, so I can't get any more people in on May. But once June rolls around, I do have some names I'm going to be reaching out to. But please, if you reach out to me, I will put you on the list. Just give me time. It's already hard enough to do 2 a week. Can't do any more, but just be patient. I will get you on the podcast, I promise. But that'll do it for the ABJ podcast. Once again, links below for merchandise, t-shirts. If you buy a t-shirt, send a picture of me in the t-shirt so I can promote it and be like, see, people do buy these things. And if you do see me, I always give away free stickers. I don't charge. I probably should, because then I can pay for the next set of stickers. But like I said, donations are always accepted in the links below too. But come see me for free stickers, and just the support goes a long way. Over 700 plays on the audio side. So if you are listening on the audio, leave a review. If you made it this far, Just type a couple things and tell us what you thought of the episode. Tell me what I did good, what I did bad, anything. Any feedback is great. Leave a 5-star review wherever you're at. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you hit the like on the page. If you're not, go over to the Twitch side or YouTube if you use those, and subscribe. We're on the quest for 1,000 subscribers. Would be dope. So that'll do it for the ABJ podcast. We're out of here. Here's some music by Billy Trey, and we'll see you on Monday with Mary Elizabeth.